Yesterday in the gaming world, a lot of people are talking about what Call of Duty just dropped in terms of their article, and they finally explain what is the matchmaking system for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and most likely for their Call of Duty franchise. And finally, we have a little bit of a look at how it looks like. That is the first time in a while that the notepad will be used for this particular episode of Yuki Gaming News. I usually don't use the notepad, but this is the first time we're going to be able to use it this year, as we have to discuss a lot of detail for today's commentary video. Usually the notepad does not come out, but here we go. Bottom left corner of the screen is the notepad if you're following at home. And don't worry, I am not going to take Devin Nash because he's too good at notepad. But we do need to understand two different terminology before we understand the article. So this is the tweets going on from yesterday. So last year we committed to a conversation with our community about matchmaking. It should have been last month, by the way. Today's matchmaking intel is intended to kick off with the dialogue and is a new beginning for what we hope will be an ongoing conversation about matchmaking. Share our process and learnings with you to answer questions and concerns we've seen within the community. We're going to take a look at this in just a moment because I have the tab open, but we do need to take a look at two terms that are going to be important in terms of today's video, and that is two particular abbreviations for terms. We have SBMM and EOMM. So SBMM stands for skill based matchmaking, if I can type correctly. And this is one of the big ones that a lot of people are talking about. Skill based matchmaking is based on the skill level of players in the same lobby in your lobby of COD, MW3, etc. Okay, so a lot of people are talking about SBMM. There is another thing called EOMM, which stands for engagement up optimized matchmaking, and this is based on engagement to optimize your matchmaking experience. So skill-based matchmaking is based on your skill level, how good you are in a particular game. Engagement is how you engage with the thing. For example, in skill-based matchmaking, I can get a 5.00 KD one game. The next game, I'm going to get a 1.00 KD. And in the game after that, I could get a 0.45. I will tell you, in my Call of Duty experience, especially when going live, I'm a 0.45. And I'm not ashamed of that. Trust me on that when we go into this article. Engagement optimized matchmaking is dealing with how people engage. This is more like how how the game treats you. For example, if I'm getting 500 kills per game, the game is going to treat me well. It is going to treat me interesting. When I'm going to get a one kill game, then it's going to get a little bit more interesting than that. So they're going to try to give you a lobby that you're going to get 500 kills in if you only get one kill. Then they're going to give you a lobby where you get one kill after you get 500. So it's it's hand in hand in that way. That's engagement. Because if you get 500 kills, you want to play more. If you get one kill, you get to play less. So they're going to try to balance that out, EOMM, to try to give you something in the middle. But most of the time, they're going to give you the sweat lord lobby when you are getting more kills than you're normally used to. That's EOMM. Now let's get into the actual article for today, and it is from the Call of Duty blog, and we're gonna be discussing this a lot for today's video. And yeah, we're gonna take a lot of notes today. That is why the notepad is out. So it says, so let's get into it. With the launch of Modern Warfare 3 Season 1 late this year, we committed to a conversation with our community about matchmaking. Today's intel is intended to kick off a dialogue and is a new beginning for what we hope will be an ongoing conversation about matchmaking, sharing our process, and to you, learning with you to answer questions and concerns we've seen within the community. So here is what they say. Okay, the single biggest priority with respect to multiplayer matchmaking is delivering a fun experience to our players. While we have many years of testing and learning as part of our matchmaking process, we are continuously working to deliver the best experiences possible. For that reason, we continue to test and look forward to more enhancements to come. We often see the community refer to matchmaking system as SBMM, skill-based matchmaking. COD does consider skill, or more specifically, player performance, as a component, as do most in the industry. But skill is not the most dominant variable. We consider prioritize several factors to create lobbies. So let's take a look at this graph, or I should say this little thing here, talking about what they consider as components. So let's have a read on the components of skill-based matchmaking. Components include connection, time to match, skill and performance, which is one of them, performance. We also have platform. We also have voice chat, VC for short, input device, mouse and keyboard or controller. We have maps and modes. That is like the maps you play and the modes you play. We also have player diversity. Okay, so that's the lobby in a nutshell. So let's talk about number one, connection. They say that ping is the king, and that is true. Ping is king, and it's the most critical component in a lobby matchmaking process. Then we have two, time to match. And let's see what they say about that. They say this factor is second most critical to matchmaking process. We all want to spend time playing the game, waiting for waiting for matches to start. So basically, this is how long does it take to go from lobby to match game to game? 10 seconds? 15? 1 minute? That is what they're talking about here. How long does it take for one player, or the lobby in this case, to go from the lobby selection thing to go to the actual game launch? Number three, number three is skill and performance. So skill and performance. And here's what they say about this. Skill and performance. Let's see what they say. wide skill range. So players with a wide skill range will be considered for a match. Number four, they always talk about maps and modes. They go into based on the maps and game modes you have played recently, i.e., play Rust with, excuse me, domination on Rust, for example. So they're going to take a look at what you have played and what maps you played. For example, like mentioned, you play domination game on the Rust map, or you play domination on shipment. I'm just giving you guys a little sample of what that looks like for maps and modes. The next thing they took a look at is platform. And this is basically PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, slash PC, etc. Number six, they took a look at voice chat. Now we're not talking about Discord here. We're talking about in-game voice chat. Voice chat. How they look to see if you use the in-game voice chat feature during the game. Does not include outside VC like in Discord. So you can have a voice call in Discord and it doesn't count. So that's fine. But if you use the voice chat feature in game, they're going to take a look at that to say, oh, this player uses voice chat. So we have to match this lobby, this player with somebody who uses voice chat in game. Or in my case, I don't use voice chat in game, I use it on Discord. So they take a look at that. They also take a look at the other component, and that is the input device, and that is controller or mouse and key, as in mouse and keyboard. Okay, if you use a controller like I do, then you're going to be matched up most likely with somebody who plays controller, or you have those mouse and keyboard. Sometimes you can get in the mix, but most of the time you're gonna see what they have. So, and then playlist diversity. Number eight, diversity playlist. What playlist do players play? I.e., if you have resurgence and then you have trios, duos, and all that good stuff, that's what they're talking about when it comes to this. What playlist is going to be used for this particular lobby? Okay, so those are the components taken into effect, taken into account, I should say, about your lobby. So let's review. One, connection. Ping is king. How high or how low is your ping? Next, time to match. How long does it take to go from lobby to game? Number three, skill and performance. What is your skill level? And they're going to check to look at that. Number four, maps and modes. which modes have you played, and which game modes have and which maps have you played as well. Platform, where are you playing on? PlayStation, Xbox, or Steam? Voice chat in terms of in-game. Do you use the in-game voice chat that is provided inside of the game? Does not include anything outside of the game like Discord. Input device. Do you use controller, do you use controller? Do you use mouse and key? Diversity playlist. What playlists do players play? And finally, input device. And finally, the other stuff that I talked about earlier. So those are the components of matchmaking. Now, excuse me. Now let's continue reading here because there is a big factor when it comes to why a lot of people are upset with this kind of thing here. And that all comes down to actually at the end of this article. Okay? And that is going to be right around here, community questions. But before we get into that, let's take a look at more of the article because it will give us a in-depth look at each particular component. And let's read let's read here about connection or measuring connection. So first let's go to connection. It says whether you're having fun with friends or looking to climb the leaderboards, connection is the most important part of the online Call of Duty experience. Most important component. That's what they say. Connection dictate, dictate, dictates the speed at which the game can transfer information from every player and from our servers. Call of Duty matchmaking process evaluates a metric we call delta ping. That's a new word, which is the difference between a round trip time of the delta between your best data center, almost always the closest to you, and the data center on which your lobby has been placed. So it's the difference between yours and theirs. So let's say the most important part about this is your area. So I believe my closest ping, most of the time when I use Restream, my closest ping is San Jose. Sounds weird because I live in LA, but that is the closest ping because LA and San Jose are closer uh, than um than San Fran. If you that's the lowest ping I can go. Okay, so delta is a between difference between best your best data center minus and the lobby you are placed in. Okay, that's what you call delta ping. Then they say Call of Duty uses a client server model to host matches, where the time it takes to share information between the client and the data center dedicated server has an impact on the overall feel on the match. The Call of Duty netcode, which we discussed in the past, works to reduce the effect of latency but cannot completely eliminate it. The matchmaking process seeks to reduce the overall amount of latency by prioritizing stable connection or low ping with shortened wait time in mind. So, in that paragraph, we can say the priority is shortest ping shortest ping and reduce latency. But that's not seem to be happening, however, because a lot of people are still saying the ping is so high. Okay, I will tell you from experience, I my lowest ping is 32, but I get placed into 62 ping lobbies, and I live in LA. 62 ping lobbies are like in if I because I've played some of these 62 plus ping lobbies, and that 62 ping is like New York because I live in LA. Because San Jose is just north of LA, of course. You have New York is like the farthest thing I have in terms of like where I can get a data center. And sometimes I get a 62 when I'm supposed to get a 32 because I live in LA. So yes, I have dealt with this before. Next component we're going to take a look at is time to match. Time to match for matchmaking. And this is talking about how long does it take to go to the game. And let's see what they say about this. Measuring time to match for matchmaking. If the way any form of matchmaking takes time, of course it does. If the wait time of the lobby is excessively long, players typically recycle the process by canceling out the matchmaking search and restarting it or even quitting. This does not quicken the matchmaking process, and in fact, it can be even detrimental. So here, players leave if match time, if if lobby to match waiting time is too long, or they even quit out quit of out of the game. This does not take into effect of crashing, however. This is literally quitting out of the lobby, like leaving the lobby, but it's also detrimental. And the reason they say detrimental. And they also say, for example, in the popular Modern Warfare 3 map, Rust Mint playlist, which consists of Rust and shipment in rotation, players often leave lobbies and or matches early on, hoping to requeue into shipment instead. So players want to leave a map, a match because they do not like certain maps. Given example is um, Rust, where players want to go to shipment instead. Okay, so hoping to requeue into shipment instead. This creates a vacant spot on a team during an early stage in a match, as the matchmaking process may prioritize backfiling that spot. This could result in players perceiving that Rust is disappointingly selected over shipment TDLR, trying to cherry pick the maps they have an unexpected result. Our goal is to ensure that players spend more time playing matches rather than waiting on them. So let's say so this creates an empty spot. So that means this. Who's gonna play in your spot if you choose not to like Rust and you want to go to shipment? And there's a reason why a lot of people go to shipment. Because there's a way to get kills there. And it makes sense, especially if you go on a camo grinding. A lot of people rather go camo grind than play on Rust. Rust is still considered a good map, but a lot of people want to grind those battle pass camos, which is in which is a good place in shipment rather than Rust. But because players leave the mats in Rust, that creates that empty spot. And now, because of that empty spot, who's going to replace that? And they have to go into the net blind because they have no idea when the map started. Okay, so this is saying here. Okay, now it's one thing to leave the lobby because you lost in the game. It's one another thing to leave the lobby because of a map. Next thing is skill. They talk about skill. So measuring skill. Let's read this one because a lot of people believe that it's one of the big ones. While skill is one of the several factors in COD multiplayer matchmaking, we all know the community wants more information about how it fits into the process. Skill is determined based on the overall performance of the player. Based on overall performance of the player, i.e., example, kills, deaths, wins, losses, and more. And recent matches as an overall result, as an overall metric across all multiplayer experiences. This is a fluid measurement that is constantly updating and reacting to your gameplay. Reacts to your gameplay by looking at your recent play history, including past games. Okay, next. Skill is not an only factor when matchmaking players against appropriate enemies, but also finding teammates. Call of Duty has historically considered player performance among other factors such as part of our matchmaking process. Our work in this area dates back as early as Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare in 2007. Skill is implemented across the video game industry, and we recognize this continuous refinement is required to deliver the best possible experience for our players. We use player performance the to ensure that the disparity between the most skilled player and the lobby and the least skilled player lobby isn't so vast that players feel their match is a waste of time. So let's put that into our pad here. They look into the most skilled lobby player and least skilled player in the lobby to make sure that the disparity isn't too too much. Okay, I will tell you there have been times where I got mad in multiplayer in Modern Warfare 2 where there's a player in level 240 something and I'm like uh 90 something I think. Like it's been a while because I don't play much COD, but I know I'm not. I think I'm in the triple digits, but not really. I don't even remember that part. But my point stands. They're taking a look at who's the most skilled, followed up by the least skilled. Then in the middle, they're gonna stack players in that range so that it's not too disparity. Okay, and let's continue here. Okay, we use player performance to ensure that the disparity between the most skilled player in the lobby and the least skilled player in the lobby isn't so vast that players feel their match is a waste of time. Our data on player outcomes clearly indicates that the inclusion of COD's multiplayer matchmaking process, as it currently stands, increases the variety of outcomes experienced by players by all skill levels. In other words, all players, regardless of skill level, are more likely to experience wins and losses more appropriately. Well, let's take a look at some recent talk. So apparently, if you watch, let's actually write that down in the notepad too, because it's an important point here. Let's put it as more outcomes with the current system is given is experienced by the players, i.e., more wins or losses or close games or wide open games. However, based on what I've heard, if you follow channels like Blame Truth, the Codfather, here's what from Blame Truth, i.e., the Codfather. I mean, not i.e., but AKA the Codfather, CODFATHER. From Blame Truth, the Codfather, he always he always says the the games feel too close, and he gets stuck on ledges. Gets stuck on ledges. That is from his videos too. And of course, there's this thing about AI in the game too. AI bots, players. He always talks about how players leave selected. Players leave games before the end of a game. Also talks about 3,000 devs, 3 years. Everybody's favorite line from him. He's the one. It's the line that he says he yells 3,000 devs or something like that. I remember I watch him a lot. So he talks about how based on SBMM, the games feel too close. He gets stuck on ledges for some reason. Some of them are AI bots, players, and selected players leave games before the end of a game. And his yelling line is 3,000, 3,000 devs. I'm not gonna yell because I'm not him and my dad is working. Anyway, moving on in this article, our data shows that when lower skill level players are consistently on the losing end, they are likely to quit matches in progress or stop playing altogether. This has an effect on the player pool. A smaller player pool means wait time for matches increase and connections may not be as strong as they should be. This can compound over time to create a spiral effect. Eventually, when only high skilled players remain, because lower skilled players have quit the frustration, the result is an ecosystem that is worse overall for everyone. So, players leaving games creates a spiral effect that that changes connections in terms of wait time to the point where only high skilled players populate the lobby due to lower skilled players leaving. Game data indicates to have some limitations on the disparity of skill across the players in a match make, makes for a healthier ecosystem. We also understand that many high school players want more variety of experience, but often feel like they only get this so-called sweatiest of lobbies. Okay, we have heard this feedback clearly, and will continue to test and actively explore ways to mitigate this concern. So, a lot of people who are high skilled are only getting sweatiest of the lobbies, meaning high skilled. High skilled players play with high skilled players. That's what that's what this is saying here when it comes to sweatiest lobbies. Okay. Um, let's talk about future communications. Let's talk about the community questions because this is the big one where a lot of people are talking about the community questions because this is going to be the telling point of today's article, and this is what it is. Number one, first question: does COD consider player engagement, i.e., time played, as a factor in matchmaking? Now, keep in mind these are all the answers from COD, the blog. So I'm going to paraphrase the answer as much as possible. Okay, to help you guys understand how this works. Does COD consider player engagement, time played, as a factor in matchmaking? And the answer to this question is we do not consider how often or how much you play in determining matchmaking, and therefore the answer is no. Number two, the second question is does the COD matchmaking process does the COD matchmaking process impact any in-game in-game elements such as hit detection, hit registration, hit registration, player visibility, aim assist, damage, etc. So there was a thing talking about how certain elements of this matchmaking process affect player visibility. For example, Blame Truth the Godfather, I'm going to go back to him again. He mentioned a potential rumor that during games in Ishika Island in particular, there was this fog that would envelop the playing field, but the way he described it was that it only affected players based on SBMM. Now, this fog in Ashika actually is also in DMZ, but it's actually part of the game map. But what he's talking about is it only appears during SBMM. So there is also a question about this particular SBMM thing. And the answer given by the blog here is going to be no, our matchmaking process does not impact gameplay elements. So the paraphrase answer is no, game elements are not affected by matchmaking process. Question number three is asking, um, Battle Pass. Does spending money on COD content, like the Battle Pass, for example, etc., um, impact any in-game elements such as hit hit registration, oh excuse me, content such as bundles, battle pass, or black sale, change how players are matched? And the answer given by the blog is no. However, however, it does affect how the game is played though. But for the answer given by the blog, it's no. It does not affect matchmaking. But I will tell you, however, based on what I have seen and based on what I have heard, that money spent in the battle pass, bundles, etc., has been criticized because some of the bundles and the things you can buy is actually affecting gameplay because they're pay to win. But in terms of matchmaking, no, it does not. But again, it will affect of how the game is played. However, in terms of the players, especially in DMZ mode where there's paid to win element like a free UAV. The next question is number 4. Does COD use bots and multiplayer matchmaking? This is different from asking, will bots be used in multiplayer matchmaking in a private match? And the answer is, according to this blog, no, there are no bots in a matchmaking process for games. Okay, now here's the biggest question that a lot of people are asking, especially when it comes to like streamers and content creators, and that is this. Number 5, do partners, content creators get special consideration um in general matchmaking? And this is talking about more of the higher up content creators. We're talking about Tim the Tap Man. We're talking about Doctor Disrespect. We're talking about any of those big streamers who play Call of Duty on the get go on the daily. These are the ones we're talking about. And do they get special considerations or special privileges in terms of Call of Duty? And the answer is no. According to the blog, the answer is no, but there is a caveat. For example, but for events, but for events like COD Next, which is their next, what they're gonna reveal in COD Next is like their little preview in COD Next. They will customize the lobbies for them, but it is in private matches. Okay, so when we make a private match, you can do that. You can customize it like that. The idea here is for them to get a feel of what it's going to be like to play COD for real when you play an online game. That's how they do COD next. So you see how they have a lot of computers, and that's because they're going to play the game, see what's new, see what's coming back, and to customize it, they're going to make it easier for them to look at into what's new for their content creator and their followers. Okay, this is something like for other games they do this too. Let's take a look at the rest of the questions here. The next question is: have you ever considered opt-in, opt-out system for matchmaking algorithm? They say that is not that is more of algorithm stuff. I'm not gonna go into this. Have you ever tested removing skill as a consideration? And they say yes, they have considered that, but if you take that off, then that's gonna take out a few of the components. Um, have you considered removing skill from matchmaking in specific general multiplayer game modes? And they have considered that, but I don't think they are. So these are the top 5 questions that are affecting how the community learn about the matchmaking. So I'm gonna tell you guys that based on my experience, number 3 is yes, they do not change how the matchmaking process works. However, buying bundles and buying battle pass stuff has changed the way game is played now. Because there have been times where you're going to see, especially in DMZ mode, somebody have a UAV and you have no idea where that came from. Because either than trying to find it in the game in the DMZ. Because in DMZ, the idea is grab, risk, and reward. You risk items, you get items, you die with items, you lose items, all that good stuff. But here in DMZ, if you buy the one with the pay to win advantage, like a free UAV, you automatically start with a UAV, and the other players are at a huge disadvantage because you never know what's going on. Okay, you never know what's going to happen. So that's how the game has been changed. But in terms of matchmaking, no. They say no, it does not change it. And I think the other big question that everybody was talking about is player visibility, aim assist, and all that. They say no, game elements are not affected. That's how it works. So after all that, how are the community taking it though? How is the community taking this? Let's have a look at Twitter because we're gonna take a look at several things that the community has said. So we're gonna call this section community community feedback, and that is all based on the Twitter. So let's see what they're saying about this blog article that we just went over. Let's see how they are taking it. Are they taking it positively or negatively? Let's have a read at some of these Twitter comments. Let's see. And everybody's talking about their Call of Duty combat records, of course. Let me see here. Yeah, they're all talking about their Call of Duty combat records. Of course, they want to show it off. And I'm gonna tell you my Call of Duty Black Up. I mean, my Call of Duty combat record it ain't good, just because I don't play this much. So let's see what we got here. It's hard to find. When you see a lot of these going on, you gotta find it. This guy finally we got somebody. Guys, the statement SFI says, guys, the statement "ping is king" is total cap. No offense, but I'm playing ranked and I have like 50 to 60 ping, and my opponents have 3 MS to max 18. So please, ping is what? King? Yeah, I doubt that. And more replies said from Kevin McBride says the blog post clearly states the current discussion does not include info about rank play or Warzone. This is in regards to public matters only, and that's true. This is only talking about the multiplayer. Let's see what we got here. I see that I was looking into ping, not the mini map, and assumed it was from rank play to the original thing. Tweet talking about rank play. There could be plenty of other reasons explaining why ping is king. That is high, but there's nothing I can say. They could be either of our time at this point. Okay. Oh, I see where it's going. The latency is 797 ms. Packet loss is 0. And then let's see what else. If we can find an actual thing here, because all these are talking about combat records right now. Let's see. Yeah, when you talk about combat records and all this, it's gonna get nuts. Let me see if they're talking about it. Here we go. Former Call of Duty developer Brian Blight claims that skill-based matchmaking SBMM has been in Call of Duty since COD 4, 2007, and it says it is also from the blog. Let me see what else we got, because a lot of people are talking about their combat records, and it's hard to find. There we go. Think I found it. Nope, never mind. They're all talking about their combat records again because they want to show off their combat records, of course. Um, Here we go. Where did this energy go? Happy holidays. Let's talk about Christmas news. It's time to talk their year again. For thousands of new players who want online ranks for the first time, we ask you to go easy on the Christmas news, but we all know you won't. True. Here's another one from MPRIE Rara. SBMM isn't changing and we like money. COD. Next time, next time, try. Here we go. Let's read this. Next time, try talking about how players are better who are play against more cheaters. That you want to protect the dads who spend more money on the game and don't want to be an official competitive sport because that would require you to change ranked and multiplayer to have separate systems. Also, this is nothing new information wise. True. Let's see. Everyone comes to whatever social media site to cry about matchmaking every time they get watched. because they can't deal with the fact that the average skill level of a COD player has skyrocketed since Black Ops 1, where they go 14 to 1 every other match. That's true. And what else we got? Maybe one more for this video. And it's gonna be very hard to find one. Oh, oh, there we go. I think we have one here. Milo says, glad you're talking about SBMM as promised, but just telling us that the doubt data says SBMM is good for low skill players isn't gonna change anyone's minds about it. When we all knew this would why be there in the first place. Kind of, but nothing burger article to be honest. And we just read about this. Our data talks about outcomes clearly indicates the inclusion of Call of Duty's multiplayer matchmaking process, as it currently stands, increases the variety of outcomes. Maybe one more. Let's see. One more. Let's see what they're saying. Ethan Price says, you've killed friend groups. You killed friend groups playing together because of how SBMM works. Friends refuse to with me because it's too hard for them, and they legit can't get kills. That's led to numerous people's friend groups quit buying the game. Great work. Next one says from Justin Chandler. I just want to stay in lobbies, not switch after every match. That was the heart of multiplayer experience. A team beats you, you want a rematch. That's also another thing that's been happening, where players have been doing disbanding lobbies. Lobbies have been disbanded, and you have to do another lobby in order to play again. It used to be where lobbies are the same people every time. Like you want to play again with the same people. And that was my first time playing COD in COD Modern Warfare 4. Um, Jordan Payton says, I understand protecting players, but it's wild when I play with IRLs and they're waited for my lobbies. My 40-year-old brother is playing the Terminator when he plays once a week. I miss I miss when I'm playing with different skill categories of friends was more accessible. True. Um, Connections to be prioritized in non-ranked modes, and skill base to be turned down in normal Warzone modes. Playing with friends of all skill levels to be fun for everyone instead of now, where it's immediately noticeable when a single high skill player joins the lobby. That's true. Um, and that's all I'm gonna be able to define because everybody's looking up their combat records. So, so what did we learn from the article? And are they going to change it? No, I do not think they're going to change SBMM as much as I want it to be out as well. It's not going to change. For one, people are playing the game. That's number one. Number two, Call of Duty, I believe, as of right now, is still top 10. Top 10 players, top 10 people, top 10 games playing according to Steam charts. Obviously, everybody's been talking about Power World, but we take a look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty has dropped big time. Call of Duty is now. Let me see where it's at. Here we go. Look at this. Call of Duty has dropped ever since, and it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. Absolutely. Look at this. Last 30 days, 90,046 players. Point 0.9. That is a loss of 13,079.1, which is a minus 12% in the last 30 days, with a peak number of players of 144,838. That is not good. And remember, their all-time peak is only 488,897 as of the recording of this video. Playing playing 24 hours ago, I mean playing right now as of this video, 88,189. The 24-hour peak is only 96,379 people. That's not good. Well, if you talk about 24-hour peak versus playing 3 minutes ago, yes, it's looking good. But if you look at the overall picture, we're talking about how many players play and players losing, players leaving the game. It's a minus 12%. The only reason why they would go up is because of a new season. But once the season starts and the new content is up, that's it. They leave again. That is why you see minus 20, minus 42, minus 6, minus 10, minus 6, minus 21. And that's across the board. The only time they would go up is a new season drop or new event. That is all. So for example, in December they had the Christmas event. They they gained 7,000 players, but then they lose 13,000 30 days within the last 30 days. And that's January 2024. Okay? So there's a lot of data showing it's going down again. And as we can see here, um 88,000 right now as of this recording of this video. If you want to go 1 year, their peak I believe is 156,000 last year. Let me see what we got. No, actually no, 189, 190, but still. That is a far cry from where Call of Duty used to be. Okay, it's a lot of people are leaving the game because of what's been going on. Meanwhile, you have the older games. I believe like Call of Duty Black Ops 3 still popping. They're still playing. Now, obviously, these are older titles. That makes sense. But a lot of people would rather play that than what's going on with COD. That's just um that's just how it works. And look at where the top 10 is right now. Call of Duty is not even top 10. Okay? Call of Duty is only number 12. And for Call of Duty to be number 12, that's actually not good in terms of concurrent players. Okay? It's one thing, and look at how Call of Duty is losing by. Call of Duty is losing to Team Fortress 2, TFT2 if you're into that. Call of Duty is also losing to Rust, which is a survival game. It's also losing to Enshroud, which is a survival game. It's losing to Apex Legends, which is a FPS. It's losing to Baldur's Gate 3, which won Game of the Year last year. It's losing to Grand Theft Auto 5, which is still popping in numbers. It's losing to PUBG, which is a BR. It's losing to Dota 2. And just recently, it's also losing to Counter Strike 2. And obviously, number one, because everybody's been talking about it, is Power Road. There's a reason why I play Power Road more than Call of Duty. And it's because Power Road, yes, it's a survival game, it's a different genre. But look at how many players are playing 2.1 million. I think I found my new game, folks. It's not Call of Duty, it's Power Road. It's Power Road, it's Mario Maker, it's all that good stuff. But yes, Call of Duty is no longer top 10. The only reason why I would get top 10 for a week is an event. That's all. But if you're talking about where it used to be, yeah, not good. So yeah, that is the discussion about SPMM, EOMM, and the matchmaking process of Call of Duty. To see Call of Duty fall off this much is sad. I played Call of Duty for a long time back in 2007. Call of Duty for Modern Warfare was my first one, and to see it go down this hard is really sad. But that is all one person's take on reading an article and talking about stats and talking about Twitter posts. If you have any questions about this today's article, make sure you read the article too. I'm going to post it in the description and I'll try to see what I can answer. Keep in mind, do not ask me about algorithms because I cannot study the COD algorithm because I'm not part of the team. I'm just the one that's reading articles for this channel, for our channel. So let me know what you guys think. And do you guys think Call of Duty will ever recover from this? Let me know in the comments below. And we'll see you guys at 5:30 on the new channel, Yuki Productions 3. If you guys like to talk about JRPGs. Enjoy and we'll see you guys very soon.